All right, people, here I am again. Another vlog. All right, so what I'm doing right now is the firewall that I did. The firewall that you saw the video on, that the Sophos Firewall, the RMA device. I got, Sophos got in touch with me and they're like, okay, we've been waiting for you to ship the defective unit back and you haven't done that. So if you don't send it back in the next 7 days, we are going to invoice you for the RMA unit. So as you can see behind me, that is the box over there. So what I'm doing is I'm going to the customer site, to the data center, and then I am sending just the box because the firewall is at home. The reason why is because the cutover date is a couple of weeks away. But Sophos at the moment, they need the faulty unit back, and I cannot can do the cutover before sending the unit back. Then then they'll end up by invoicing the new unit. So what I'm doing is let the firewall home, taking this is just the box with the RMA return slip in the box. So I'm going to the data center, and what I'm going to do is remove the unit, the faulty unit, and then ship that back. Sophos can have that back. Yeah, so that they can get off my back, and then the cutover, we'll do the cutover. So that's what I'm driving to now. The customer, just to give you a little bit hint on this whole project here. The customer is a fashion retail customer, and they have over 300 stores all over. Over 300 stores. Well, right now the stores is much more bigger because this fashion company is being bought by a much more giant fashion company. So they just bought them out completely. That'll be another discussion. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going over there, drop this thing off, and let me hurry up. Yes. Okay. Where was I? Okay. So so they have 300 stores all over, and all the stores, like I was telling my video, that we have RAID devices all over all these stores here. So everything come back into HQ, which is the HA member that you saw that I have in the crib, in the house, or the video. So the project is kind of like subdivided, and it's gonna be switch upgrade, which is Aruba switches everywhere. The core is Aruba switch, and Aruba core, Aruba switches everywhere. The APs, those are Cisco APs with a Cisco controller. And then the firewall is Sophos, the endpoint security, for endpoint and for service, and also for mobile phones. Those are all Sophos. That's Sophos Central or Sophos Intercept X Advanced with XDR. That is what we're using for that site, basically. So the thing is, the firmware on the current the current firmware needs to be updated, and then also the firmware for all the RAID devices needs to be updated. So before before we update the firmware for the firewall, we have to update the RAID devices, because you don't want to do all of them at the same time. And how it works with Sophos and the RAID devices, the remote Ethernet devices, is you push the update for the RAID from the firewall, from the firewall that they establish the tunnel with. So you go and push only the update for the RAID devices, and what it does is it pushes it to all these 300 stores at the same time, and all the RAID devices at the remote or the satellite offices or stores, they'll receive that update, and it will reboot in 10, 15 minutes. It should completely update and reboot. And when that happens, the store is offline. Obviously, not that they cannot transact, nothing can happen. They still can do everything. That's what the cutover is. We schedule a maintenance window for a cutover window. So it takes 10 to 15 minutes for the RAID to receive the update and come back online. So obviously, not all the 300 RAIDs will come online at the same time, but whichever update. So first we just come online and reestablish the tunnel connection with the firewall, just like that. So the RAID 20s and the RAID 15s, but the 15s just getting rid of all the 15s. Nobody needs any more 15s. 20s and RAID 60s, yeah. So after that, and then we'll do the firmware the firmware update for the primary HA, and also the auxiliary HA, which is the one which I've done the firmware update for that already. So don't have to do that. Sophos currently is on SFO V19, 19.0.1 MR. Yeah, that is the version that they are on. Very good version. I like the 18. Anything from the 18.5 onwards, I have been a very good fan of that. And I have been a very good fan of the 40 OS, 7.0, but the recent issue, so we don't want to talk about it. If you're on a 7.0, you better upgrade your firmware immediately. So that is the whole scope of the project, but that is not after the RAID updates. I am going to update the firmware for all the core switch, the Aruba switches. We're doing the core update, the core upgrade, and all the access layer, switches, and then the controller. Right, this is a controller, and then after that, I do the firewall, upgrade, and that'll be the entire scope of the project. So right now I am on the freeway, to the customer site to take down the 40 units and ship it back to Sophos. All right, so let's take a drive. Then you see me at the customer site. Let's go. All right. Okay, security did do their thing. Can I just sign here? Second.
This is already finished, right?
Oh, you're right there. Ah, thank you, man. I was feeling. Yeah, you got everything from me already, but I was just writing the wrong. Just feeling. You know what? I'm just gonna shoot it straight. Yeah, I'm not gonna even park there. I'm parking right here. Bam. Okay, so look at the units. So right, this one gotta go. So right, okay, just gotta check here. Not good. HA, that's good right there. And yep, gotta go. System controller. The robot call switches. Gotta cut the power out, and then you come out. Power is out. Okay, so cut the power out, and then just unplug this. Out and out. Okay, that's good. Because this cage nut, you can easily lose this cage nuts. You can just easily lose this, guys. Everything is, the defective unit is out. Everything looking good. Good. Looking good. Very good looking. Awesome cable management over there. Yeah. Cisco. Aruba. Dell. Yeah. Looking good. Yep. That's how we do it as pros. Okay. Everything look good here. Yeah. Everything looks great. Good. Cable management. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do, biometrics, right? Biometrics. So what I'm going to do is this unit, I'm going to take it back with me and then ship it to Sophos. Alright. Okay, people, I am leaving. Sharp. Alright, I'm leaving at customer site now. So I'm going to go around. Oh, it's alright, let me just go around. Okay, so what happened was I got in touch with Sophos, and yeah, they're like, okay, no, don't, because what I thought was I'm just gonna remove the unit and just leave it, and then by the customer side, and then they will come and fetch it, or the customer will ship it back to them. But it's like, oh no, don't, we will come and fetch the unit by you. So I'm taking the defective unit with me now to the crib, and then Sophos, they will send their courier guys to come and fetch it by the crib. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right, no problem. So yeah, so that's the unit now behind me, and I am taking it to the crib. Like I said, in the video, how Sophos does HA is the same, because Sophos does HA on layer 2. FortiGate also does HA on layer 2. Cisco Firepower, I don't know if Cisco Firepower does HA on layer 2, but Cisco, the routers does HA on layer 3. That's where you get that's how it, HA is done for the routers on layer 3. But for the firewalls, those are on layer 2. Of primary and the auxiliary device, or the primary and the backup unit will share a virtual MAC address. That's what it will do. It'll share a virtual MAC address, and if the configuration is set up in active backup mode, then the backup device or the auxiliary device just sits and does nothing. So the primary does absolutely everything. The packets come through, packet filtering, decryption, you check it. Everything. The primary will do it. The backup just sit and wait for the primary to die. So to take over, just like what happened. The primary died, which is that. The backup took over and became the primary. So that's how it works. But in active mode is, it does some kind of load balancing in an active mode. What will happen is the primary, it's still the primary device, because all the hosts was send the traffic to the primary. And when the primary, let's just say the three-way, handshake, right? The three-way handshake, how it works is in an active backup mode, the three-way handshake will be the host will send the request to the primary firewall. Then the primary firewall will send it to the receiving end. Let's just say the server on the DMZ zone, right? So let's say this host is on the LAN zone and the server is on the DMZ zone. The three-way handshake will be the host will send the request to the primary firewall, and the firewall will send that request to the will send that request to the DMZ server, and then the DMZ the server in the DMZ will send the acknowledgement to the firewall, and then the firewall will send that to the host, and then the host will reply back with saying acknowledge. So that is how it's been done. It's to the firewall, the primary firewall, and so technically the backup primary don't know what is happening. Doesn't receive any of that traffic. But in an active mode, what will happen is the host in the LAN zone want to communicate with the server in the DMZ zone. Will send a TCP synchronization packet. And when it sends that to the primary firewall, and the primary firewall wants to load balance, this is how the primary will do it. It will send that request to the secondary firewall, and then the secondary firewall will send that packet to the host. It will send that packet to the server, right? And then the server will reply back with acknowledgement, and what the server will do will send that acknowledgement request to the primary. And then the primary will send that back to the secondary in the active mode, and then the secondary will send that to the host. And when the host reply with sync ACK, the host will not send that to the secondary firewall. It will send that back again to the primary, and then the primary will send it to the auxiliary, and then the secondary firewall will pass it on to the server, and then back again. So it's like it does some load balancing, but still the traffic will first come to the primary, and then the primary will load balance that traffic. It's not everything that is being that it load balances. Some things it will not load balance. The primary will still have to do that. It will load balance those sessions to the secondary firewall. That is all depending on the load on the primary. So the primary will decide how to load balance those sessions. Yes. So that's how it works. But I'll probably have to do a video and talk more in depth about that. But that's just the simplest way for it to do that. So FortiGate and Sophos. Let's talk about TLS right now, right? SSL and TLS decryption and encryption. How FortiGate and Sophos does TLS is the same, with minor, implementation, obviously. Which one do I like best? FortiGate and Sophos doing TLS. Okay, first of all, with the hardware, like I said in the video, that with the XG, S version of the firewall that Sophos came out with, it has a dedicated Sophos Extreme Fast Path chip. which has its own RAM. That is very separate from the CPU and the RAM for the firewall. So that is just either on CPU, either on RAM in there. The FortiGate have the same thing, but which is the NPU, network processing unit. They have the CP, because that one is your CP. So they have the CP8, CP9, and they have the NPUs. So for offloading, so you can offload some of the tags to the dedicated chip, like I say, TLX, encryption, decryption, and VPN tunnel, all of that. You can offload that one to the NPU chip, dedicated chips. So that the CP chips don't have to do none of those things. Just like FortiGate, not all the hardwares have the NPUs in them, right? Your a bit of high end, I think that will be your 40, the 100Fs. I think with the 100 and the 200Fs, yes. But just your 80, 60, and 40, desktop little units, don't have it. So Sophos obviously Sophos is also the same thing. I think Sophos start from the 200 series. I think so. Yeah, going upwards. So they'll have the dedicated chip for offloading on TLX. The implementation wise, I just like how Forti does it because it's straightforward. Apply that a CA certificate to the traffic you want to decrypt. It's very simple. But it will also depend on which mode you have the FortiGate. If you have it in profile mode, the implementation. I think the implementation is much more simpler in profile mode compared to policy-based mode. Y'all can correct me on that. Because in policy-based mode, a couple of things have to still be defined. Everything. Like your SNATs, DNATs, all those things. You have to define those ones. But in a policy-based, in profile-based mode, you don't. You just apply it. I think so. Either way. And so and so Sophos is also very simple, but you have to just a couple of few places to just go and make some changes here, from TLAs, and then you have to go into the exception zones to because you want to the exception objects to exclude some traffic you don't want to decrypt, because depending on which country you are in, some traffic you are not allowed to decrypt because that would be illegal, like financial transactions and confidential things. You don't have to ID numbers, social security numbers, so those traffic you cannot decrypt. So you have to exclude those ones in the exception zone. You just create a rule for that. I like how Sophos does it because you can just import the modules single into there, and then you just apply that. Fantastic. Because I hate it when I have to define those things, on my own, because it's forever. I just want to pull my hair off. Like, oh please, I can't do that. So I just love to download that, import it in, and then apply that, which is fantastic. And Sophos will just update, and add on in the background. But you still have to define specific ones, That is all right. And Forti also does that. But again, you have to define. So it's more or less the same. It's just implementation is just a little bit different. So you just take a pick or choose both. So I like both. All right, people. I'm almost to the crib. Yeah. So I'll see y'all. Thank y'all for following me on this little journey of getting the unit. And I'ma see y'all in another episode, telling y'all all about. Watch out for videos on Sophos, FortiGate. Watch out for some labs that will come on. I just got a couple of things in the pipeline, so you just need some time to get it all ready. All right. Anyway, thank you all again for joining me on this little episode of ktslabs. Yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also check out my unboxing tech channel, Crazy Tech Space. All right, thanks y'all, and I'm gonna see y'all.
2,000 years later.
Okay, HA looking so good. Primary and backup. So the primary is running the latest firmware. Backup is running the same thing. So primary is active, that is auxiliary. So to be in the protect mode, because that's the auxiliary, and then this is the primary, right? Yeah. Good.